Hey guys, Sean here. Now, I said in my comic book collection video that I would do a review of all the X-Men films leading up to Deadpool. And so I'm going to start with the original trilogy, but right now I'm obviously starting with the 2000 movie since it was, the very first release. And then I'll review the other 6 movies as I go forward. But right now I'm going to start with the original movie, and then afterwards I will watch and review these 2 movies. This series will be in 3 parts: the original trilogy, the Wolverine double feature movie, to both Wolverine movies, and then First Class and Days of Future Past being part 3. So yeah. So let's see. Okay, so this is the 2002 movie. This is the 2000 movie based on the superhero team with the same name, distributed by 20th Century Fox. It is the first film in the series. It was directed by Bryan Singer and written by David Hayter. I think I got that name wrong. And features an ensemble cast that includes Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, in his first American movie, I might add, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Femke Jensen, James Marsden, Bruce Davison, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, Ray Park, Tyler Mann, and Anna Paquin. Got dang, was a large cast. And then you have a few others such as Sean Ashmore and, well, him mainly. And it says it depicts a world in which a small portion of people are mutants whose possession of superhuman abilities makes them superhuman powers makes them distrusted by normal humans. The film focuses on mutants, Wolverine and Rogue, as they are brought into a conflict between 2 groups that have radical different approaches to bringing the exception of a mutant kind. Professor Xavier's X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants led by Magneto. Now, this film was in development from as far back as 1984 with Orion Pictures. At one point, having James Cameron and Catherine Bigelow. At one point, James Cameron and Catherine Bigelow were in discussions. Then the film rights went to 20th Century Fox in '94. Various screenplays and story treatments were commissioned by Andrew Kevin Walker, John Logan, Josh Whedon, and Michael Chabon, I think. Singer signed on to direct in '96 with further rewrites by Ed Solomon, Singer, Tom DeSanto, Christopher McQuarrie, and Hatcher, in which Beast and Nightcrawler were deleted over budget concerns from Fox. Although Nightcrawler does appear not in this one, in this movie and the upcoming X-Men Apocalypse. And then you have Beast, who kind of makes a cameo in X2, but his full appearance is this movie, and then this movie, and Apocalypse, which I will get to all of them later. And then this was, like I said, this was Hugh Jackman's first American Hollywood debut, who was last second choice for Wolverine, cast 3 weeks into filming. So this movie basically kind of spawned the reemergence of the superhero genre after the supposed death of the genre due to movies like Steel, Batman and Robin, so forth. This was the movie that re-energized the comic book movie genre, and I think it does a very good job. It's a very good movie. I do like this film. I think it's a great film, great introduction to the series. This movie for me was more of a setup movie rather than an actual movie. And the fun thing about it is that out of all the films in the series, okay, out of all these films plus Apocalypse, this is the only movie to be based on an original storyline. Like, it isn't based on a comic book story. And I'll get into the other ones later when I review those ones. So yeah, this is a fun movie. The music was done by, hang on, let me look. Music was done by Michael Kamen. I think I had that right. And this has a runtime of 104 minutes with a budget of $75 million, and the box office was 296 $0.3 million. Hey, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. But yeah, I think this is a fun movie. Do I have any negatives with it? Probably. Well, I didn't like the character of Senator Kelly. I thought he was a complete dick and not willing to allow mutants to defend themselves. But yeah, I can see why though, because Ian McKellen has been able to just make a point that people fear what they don't understand, and it's basically said in every movie, but it's kind of a cliche dialogue by now. But yeah, this is a fun movie. Great start to the series. Although it's not one of my favorites in the series, I kind of like the later movies. But for what it is and what it does, it's a great film, I think. So I will catch you guys next time with my review of with this movie. See you guys later. Hey guys, Sean again. Here is my review of X2 X-Men United. Why do I call it that? Well, because it pretty much says that on the box. So, that's just me. But yeah, so this is my review of the second X-Men movie. It was released in 2003, again under the direction of Bryan Singer, and distributed by 20th Century Fox, like all of them. Like all the movies. This movie was written by Michael Dougherty, I think, Dan Harris, and David Hayter. Again, I'm probably pushing his name wrong. And it features an ensemble cast, including pretty much everyone from the first one. Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, James Marsden, Romain Stamos, Sean Ashmore, Bruce Davidson, and Anna Paquin. And also some newcomers, Brian Cox and Alan Cumming, Aaron Stanford, and Kelly Hu. This movie was inspired by the graphic novel God Loves Man Kills, pits the X-Men and their enemy, the Brotherhood, against the genocidal Colonel William Stryker. He leads an assault on Xavier's school to build his own version of Xavier's mutant tracking computer, Cerebro, in order to destroy every mutant on Earth. So, that's pretty much the plot in a nutshell. So what do I think of this movie? Honestly, it's better than the first movie. And also it's longer than the first movie. This is probably the longest, to be honest, this is probably the longest X-Men movie we have. I think. Let me check. Let's see. This one is about 31. This one. Technically, yeah, theatrically this is technically the longest, but literally the road cut is actually the longest. But in a way, yeah, this one's still technically the longest if you don't count the road cut. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, this movie was in production pretty much after the first movie. David Hayter and Jack Penn wrote 2 separate scripts, combining what they felt to be the best elements of both scripts into one screenplay. Dougherty and Harris were eventually hired to rewrite the screenplay and change the characteristics of Beast, Angel, and Lady Deathstrike. Beast actually was apparently again removed from the script, like the first movie, and so was Angel. Even though Beast does get kind of a cameo in the movie, sort of, although he's in human form, which confuses me a bit. Sentinels in the Danger Room were set to appear before being deleted because of budget constraints. But the Danger Room does appear in this movie, and the Sentinels are in this one. So this movie was released May 2nd, 2002, with a runtime of 134 minutes, which is 2 hours and 14 minutes. The budget was $110 million, and it was made back $407.7 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, honey. But yeah, I do like this movie. I think it's a great continuation of the series. It kind of focuses a little bit more on Wolverine, which was kind of getting to be the problem with these movies because they were so Wolverine centric. Mostly because he was the most popular character of the franchise, I guess you said. But this movie really does dive into his backstory, which is expanded on in this movie. But I'll get to that later when I review it. Anyway, but yeah, this movie does touch on his backstory, like the Weapon X thing, how he got his adamantium, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, this is a really great movie. You got Alan coming in here as Nightcrawler, and honestly, that's the main role that I know him from the most. Because even when I did my Son of the Mask video, I even acknowledged him as Nightcrawler, as well as he's also Floop from the Spy Kids movies, but a different subject. So yeah, this is a great movie. I like the cast, like the music by John Ottman, who actually has now scored, if you count the upcoming Apocalypse movie, three X-Men movies. This was the first of three, if you count Apocalypse. And then he also scored Superman Returns. And then I think I mentioned in my episode 7 review that if anything happened to John Williams, that the only person I could think that could be a good replacement, and that would be John Ottman. Because even with Superman Returns, Ottman does mimic Williams' score perfectly, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I like this movie. I think it's better than the first. It's a great continuation of the series. It's a fun movie, I think. If you guys haven't seen this movie, check it out. It's great fun. So, hey guys, Sean here. I'm here for my review of XMen Last. Now, I've already done my reviews for the first two movies, and I'm also in the middle of doing all the X-Men films prior to Deadpool in the next few days. So like I said, I'm here with my review of X-Men Last Stand. So, this was the third movie in the franchise, directed by Brett Ratner, written by Simon Kinberg and Zach Penn, and features an ensemble cast including Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Anna Paquin, Vinnie Jones, Famke Jensen, James Marsden, Ellen Page, Shawn Ashmore, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, Kelsey Grammer, Aaron Stanford, a bunch of people, put it that way. It includes a bunch of people. This movie was based on two different comic book story arcs, the Dark Phoenix Saga and Gifted storyline. And it basically revolves around a mutant cure that causes serious repercussions among the mutants and humans and on someone on the resurrection gene. Apparently, Bryan Singer was supposed to direct this movie until a door opened up in the Superman franchise, and so he left to go do Superman Returns, very stupidly, I think. And then Matthew Vaughn, who went on to direct X-Men First Class, was actually supposed to direct this movie and actually casted parts of the movie. And according to First Class DVD featurettes, Matthew Vaughn even said that when he got onto X-Men 3, they didn't even have a script for it. So he, Zach Penn, and I think Simon Kinberg got together and created a draft for the script. So that was really cool. But sadly, Matthew Vaughn left due to personal and professional reasons, such as a rushed script and family problems. So he was replaced with Brett Ratner at the last minute, like at the very last minute, I believe. And production began August 2005 with a budget, or August 2005 with a budget of $210 million. And it was the most expensive movie at the time of its release, etc., etc., etc. It was released May 26, 2006 to commercial success. It grossed $459 million worldwide. It became the second highest grossing the film until Days of Future surpassed it in 2014. So yeah. So what do I think of this movie? And it also has a runtime of 144 minutes, which translates into an hour and 44 minutes. Okay. So now what do I think of this movie? Okay. I want to make this clear before I say anything. Keep in mind when I say this that I do like this movie. Yes, I do agree with the critics and the fans that it's not as good as some of the others in the franchise. But hear me out for a second. This is, I guess, what you would call a guilty pleasure. Yes, I know it is considered a piece of shit, but I still get some enjoyment out of it. The problems with it are very simple. Okay. I'm gonna go through my positives first. Kelsey Grammer was an awesome beast. Okay, I like that they had Kelsey Grammer in this movie. He was great in the role. All the acting, I think, is great all around. The score by let me get this name right. John Powell. I actually got that wrong when I went out and write my notes out. But yeah, John Powell. The score he does is really good. Is it as good as some of the others in the series? No, but still fun. It's a fun score. Great, some good action scenes, and I hate to say, but pretty much more some of my positives pretty much end, I think. Yeah. Okay. This movie suffers from too many characters. Some of the original characters are underused, are completely underused and wasted due to a rush production and schedule conflicts. And then you have the Danger Room in the beginning of the movie shows the fuck up out of nowhere, considering it was never in the last two movies, never established. It was originally supposed to be an X2, but it's taken out due to budget concerns. But I would have liked some explanation of how it shows up in this movie. And then you have Cyclops killed off, mainly due to Singer stealing him for Superman Returns, etc. And then you have Xavier killed off by Jean. Same like Cyclops was killed by Jean. But Xavier was killed before he and Wolverine could settle their differences. That's kind of a kick in the walls, everything about it. They start randomly classifying mutants, although that was never in the first two movies. I would like some explanation, I think. Again, some explanation. Apparently, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler is completely absent in this movie. No explanation, except if you play the video game. Apparently, the gene in the first two movies was an artificial creation, created by Xavier, apparently due to split personality. Pretty much in general, this movie is inconsistent with the first two movies. The tone is inconsistent. Jean's character and powers are inconsistent. This movie is what some people would call a clusterfuck, such as this mixes two different storylines from the comics and doesn't do any of them really any much justice. Especially the Dark Phoenix saga. That storyline felt rushed and tacked on, just as a way to bring Jean back. I mean, I don't know much from the comics, but come on, you can even tell it felt rushed. To be honest, this entire movie's pace felt rushed, probably mainly due to the rush production. And this movie is, like I said, an hour and 44 minutes. And according to Matthew Vaughn, had he directed this movie, not come back, because you know what I mean. Had Matthew Vaughn directed this movie would have been at least 20 minutes longer. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this movie does suffer from a lot of problems. Mainly, it's inconsistent with the last two movies, but all in all, yes, it's not as good as some of the other movies, but still, it's decent. It's a decent movie. Put it that way. So that was my review of the entire X-Men trilogy. Catch you guys later for the Wolverine.